Alright, so after having a look at the inspector, you see that I have opened or created a little logic arrangement here, a 4-bar loop that consists of a drum machine, an organ, a bass sound, and a synthesizer sound from the library. Now I would like to have a look at the inspectors here. Firstly, you see that I have set up my control bar again, but this time I've added the song key and the end bar here. So I can click this. Now you see the end or the song end marker has moved to bar 8. I can actually move it to bar 5 because I've only recorded 4 bars. Now having a look at the list editor, so if I, for example, click on my drum region and click list, you would see a list of all things that are in this region. The other things you have in the list editor are a list of markers, and I haven't created any, so there are no markers in there. A tempo list and a time signature and key information. Pretty much the same as what you would find in the global tracks. So these are the list editors. The next thing we have here on the top is the Notepad. So the Notepad, if you click edit, you can type any information. Once you finish typing, click done, and you can close this, and the information will be there for the project. You can also type information about each individual track. So if you click on this track, you can type what plugin this is. If you click on the next track, you can say this is an organ, or just anything you really want to say. So once that's done, click done, and if you want to close it, press this. Browsers. So the browser normally shows you what media, I don't want photos, what media files you have inside this project. This is probably the most common one. This is where you later on see the audio files that you have in your project. Let's see whether I can open one. So if you want to add an audio file to your project, click on add audio file. Maybe here. Okay, here we got some Rival Sons. So if I want to add the whole side one of the Rival Sons album, you can add that to this list and then go to other sections of your hard drive. Once that's done, click done, and the audio file will be added here. And from here you can drag it onto an audio track. If there is no audio track, I drag it underneath the track list here, and Logic will automatically create the right track type. Let's have a quick listen. Yep, sounds like music. So the next section we will spend some more time, which is the loop browser. I have 222,996 loops on this computer, which is a lot, and probably too many to ever use in a song. Before we carry on, I'm just going to close this project and start a new one, and we're going to talk about the loops in more detail. So close project. I don't want to save it. And then I'm going to create a new track. Do I have templates here? Okay, before I go to the loops, I'm going to quickly explain templates, because templates is a really good way to set up your computer for future use. So first of all, every time I open a new Logic project, I'm going to have to customize my control bar. So custom here, replace doesn't apply to me, master volume doesn't apply to me, auto punch I probably use, quick help I'm not going. I never use list edit. Sorry, I never use smart controls, mixer or editors because they are always opened with shortcut keys. Also in my LCD display I need to see the key signature and the project end. What else don't I need? I don't need rewind, fast forward, but I need capture recording. And that's about it. Then I need to see my global tracks. And usually I also set up screen sets. So here's how it works. At the moment, key set 1 is this window. When I press number 2 on the keyboard, we have this. Usually on number 2, the secondly most common thing is my mixer. So I'm going to just open the mixer here. What I usually need with that is a control bar, or at least transport float, and that looks like this. So here on the mixer I don't need anything, and I'm going to customize it again just for this window. Don't need rewind, don't need cycle, don't need record on this, but my LCD needs to be on custom. Again, I don't need count in, solo tuner, replace anything, not while I'm working on the mixer. So now I can make this actually quite small and put it at the bottom. So that's my window or screen set 2. If I press 1 again on the computer keyboard, it jumps back to here. So another thing I always use is the piano roll. So you see I pressed number 5, and here is the piano roll in full size rather than at the bottom of the screen in the works window. Normally what I do, I also open up the automation, and again here I need a little transport. So again for this window I'm gonna customize it again. Don't need rewind, don't need this, don't need record, don't probably need cycle, just do this, don't need replace, don't need count in, solo or anything. Good, and I can resize it again, put it at the bottom, and probably put this window up a bit so it looks like this. Also in the piano roll I normally on control click I have velocity 2, which I use quite a lot. So pressing 1 again goes back to the arrange or the work window. Number 2 is my mixer. 3 and 4 I haven't decided yet. 5 is my piano roll, and you have 9 in total. So on number 9 I'm going to do this, open the transport float and leave it like that. So I could now play the song from here, but all I see is this fantastic Apple background screen and my control bar, which I'm going to customize again quickly. So really what I should have here is stop and play. And that's it. The reason I'm doing this is when you look at this and there's a lot of music on here, you will be quite busy watching what's going on in the music. But music is a thing for the ear, and by this you don't look so much at the computer screen, you just listen, which is very important. Once all this is set up, I can go to File and save this as a template. So I call it iMac 2 and save. Then what I would do, usually in Logic Preferences, when project handling at the startup, I say select a template or create new project using default template, and the template I'm going to use is iMac 2, and I can close this. So the next time I open Logic, if I quit this quickly, I don't need to save this because I saved the template. So if I open Logic again, it should now open with the template I just created. Window or Screenset 2 is the mixer, Screenset 5, Screenset 9. You see the numbers are changing there. Okay, and finally we can come to the loop browser. So the loop browser, with the thousands of loops you have there, gives us 2 or 3 different categories of loops. So we have green loops and we have blue loops. We also have, I've seen them somewhere here, orange loops. So orange loops, let's start with them. If you like them, drag any loop in, not on a current track, but underneath the tracks. And Logic will automatically create the right track. So this is obviously a drummer loop. It's probably equally easy to find that loop in this library. Yeah, but sometimes you might want to open it from the library. Then we come to the green loops. First of all, you're clicking a loop and you see it plays from this section. So I can hear this now on my headphone. If I look at my song, this song is in the key of C. Usually all the loops, see this is already in C, are playing in the key of the song because I have play in song key selected. And that might sometimes get results that are not as perfect as they could be. But if you play another loop, which is probably like this in F sharp, now this is playing in C. If I change this to play in original key, this is the original loop. However, we are in C. So at the beginning of your composition, it would be really good if you know what key your song is in. Then double click on the C, and you can change the key from, at the moment is C major. If I wanted to use this loop in its original key, I would have to use F sharp major. And now if I press OK, this has changed to F sharp, and I can again drag this loop in, but not on a current track, but on a new track underneath whatever tracks I've already opened. The problem now is, if I wanted to use this loop with it, this plays in A, but my song is now in F sharp. So if I change this to play in song key, now this wave space would play in F sharp as well. And when I drag it into the arrange page or the workspace, this loop, seems very loud, would play in the key of F sharp. And that sounds correct to me. So these are audio loops. Audio loops are short audio files. Normally it tells you how long they are. So here we got 16 beats. Original tempo is 120 and the original key is C. Loops automatically play in the song tempo, even though the original is something a lot different. It plays in the song tempo. The other thing is, if you change the song tempo, any loops that you've used from the loop browser here will play or will change with the tempo change. So if I make this a lot faster, all these loops are still in time. Another important thing is the length of the loop. So what we've talked about before, it's important that a loop is exactly 2, 1, 4, however many bars long. So if I click on this, I can see, okay, this loop is exactly 2 bars long, which would make it easy if I want to make copies, because then the copies will be in time the next time they play again. Audio loops are being restricted and cannot be edited. That's simply because some of these audio files are system files and they are needed somewhere else on the computer. So in general, you can use them and not change very much. So this is totally different with the green colored loops. The green colored loops are MIDI loops. So okay, let's find something a little melodic, not a drum beat. What we got here, harpsichord. Okay, so harpsichord playing in G. If I quickly want to hear, okay, so obviously at the moment if I have this on, it plays in F sharp, like now. If I change or play original key, it will play in G. Okay, so if I create an audio track here and I want a stereo track, so for a stereo track I can click create here and then click this dot, and now it's a stereo track. I can drag this MIDI loop onto an audio track and Logic will automatically convert the MIDI loop into an audio file. So making a copy. However, loops are best to be imported by dragging them here under the tracks. So Logic will automatically write or open the right kind of track. So if I open this here, you see what happens. It opens a piano or orchestral harpsichord. If I mute these tracks, because the advantage of using it this way now is I have a MIDI track, and by pressing 5, because I set up my Screensets, key number 5 is the piano roll. So here are the MIDI notes that have been played in this. Let's make this a bit smaller. So if I wanted to change this now, it's very easy. So if I change all these notes, so I'm changing this loop around totally to my liking. And I can add things or take things off. So if I wanted to have this played even faster, right, I can't put these in the center without being exactly sure where they are ending up. So let's undo this, and if I change the division on the transport to the next higher number, 32, you see another set of lines have been created here. So now I can put these, let's listen to that. Right, that sounds totally unplayable, but in general, if it was a drum beat, I could just add things here. So the division tells you how many lines you have in a bar. So if we look at this bar 2, from bar 2 to bar 3, there are 32 of these lines. That means if you put in a note, they will be a 32 note. Or you can put in 32 notes. So with a brush, for example, Alright, so they are now 32 notes, but the length of the note is a 16th. So let me undo this. Although we have a division of 32 here, the note length will be a 16th, and that's determined by the quantized value. So if I change the quantized value to 32 and the division is 32, so now I have created notes, 32 notes that are a 32 note long. Going back to my workspace, back to the loops. So the MIDI loops, if I look at this, the piano is an audio instrument. The sound cannot really be changed a lot with most of the green colored loops. So if I change this, you can change the instrument probably from harpsichord. No, it doesn't let me. And it hasn't even got any presets. So volume can be changed, the cutoff can be changed slightly, and the release of the note can be changed. What that means is something we discuss when we talk about synthesis. Okay, so let me delete everything. So the next thing I wanted to show you is how to convert your own drum beat into an Apple loop. Drum synth, and quickly program a drum beat. So today I seem to like the 909 drum kit. So if I record a drum beat, hope the click will be on, and I'm going to switch on the quantize before I record. Right, so as you see, I had the loop in record all the time, and every time it went round I added a new sound. So now I just need to quickly have a look at what I've done here, and some of these sounds have been put, or I played them at the wrong count. So this is my drum beat. Going back to the workspace, I can now convert this drum beat into one of these loops. So if I say, okay, I always want to use this drum beat, rather than composing it and creating it from scratch every time, I put that into my loop section and make it an Apple loop, so that next time, whatever the song tempo, I can use this in a song that I want to make. And that's done by simply dragging this into here. Once you do that, it gives you the name. So I call this speed beat. It's a loop. The scale doesn't really matter here because it is a drum, so it needs to be in all drums. It's a beat. And is it distort any of this? Let me just have a look. It's probably electric, but I'm not going to tick that. So this is later on for other people to find your loop. Genre, loop. Okay, let's create. Once that's done, I can go to all drums. And if I remember what I called it, something with an S, so it's probably an alphabetical order. So it should be here somewhere. OP speed beat, here it is. See what Logic has created my drum beat, which is 4 beats long, and the original tempo is 107. And I could now put this loop in, and here it is. So that's how easy it is to actually create your own loop once you've made your drum beat. Again, it's really important that the length of your drum beat is exactly a bar, 2 bars, 4 bars long. If it isn't, Logic will not let you drag this into the loop browser. And that concludes today. See you next time.